We thank the organizers for this conference. As patient representatives, we are frustrated and impatient. After more than 4 years, we are still fighting for recognition, research funding and adequate care. We are subject to medical gaslighting, to stigmatization. A majority of physicians still think we're lazy or crazy because there's no biomarkers and no cure. And because our diseases defy the logic of our systems, the medical, the social security and research systems. Post-infectious conditions are not new. ME was systemically underfunded. Its research, healthcare and support. We conveniently considered those kind of diseases as somatoform disorders. Long COVID and ME overlap. Their cardinal symptoms, exertion intolerance, post-exertional malaise, cognitive dysfunction and orthostatic intolerance, together with the pain and the fatigue that's associated, are the main symptoms. There is a bleak prognosis. If symptoms persist for more than a year, you have less of a chance than 10% of ever recovering. There's a poor quality of life with these kind of diseases. ME cuts 20 years off your life expectancy. The causes of death for ME are stroke, lung embolism, kidney function, kidney failure, heart failure, and cancer. This should ring a bell if you're studying or caring for people with COVID or long COVID. What is new with the new kid on the block is its prevalence. Long COVID affects 3.3% of the population. This corresponds to 36 million people in Europe and over 200 million worldwide. 6.8% of the adult population in the US are affected by long COVID, and it also affects children, adolescents, and smaller kids. Long COVID and ME are not curable at this point, but you can treat them, and you must treat them. You should treat the symptoms off-label or on-label. And we need dedicated research funding to find and develop new treatment approaches. For that, we need to generate data. Long COVID Europe, the network organization of the patient organizations in Europe, has asked the EU for 500 million in research funding dedicated to post-infectious conditions. We have not seen any of that money. And we desperately need competence centers to provide the adequate care that people deserve. Understanding long COVID and ME will help understand other post-infectious conditions that have been neglected for years and even centuries. Its symptoms, syndromes or conditions, postural tachycardia, mast cell activation, small fiber, fibromyalgia, and many more. The predisposition for those type of diseases, immune dysfunctions that dysregulate the entire body and all the different organ systems, are usually triggered by viral infections, but they can also be triggered by vaccination or chemotherapy. We must understand them better, and for that we need to join forces across country borders, across disciplines and professions. Doctors, researchers, therapists, but also patients and their carers need to work closely together. And the industry, don't forget the industry. We have to merge and combine the indications. We have to identify what unifies us and not focus on what divides us. And for that, we really need to understand post-infectious conditions as a spectrum, more like autism spectrum disorders. We really hope that we have a great and fruitful conference, not only to help the people affected today, but also to prevent another mass disabling event in the future.